All right. What's going on, fellas? We are live. We are back to break down a set of rookie mock drafts here. We got a new 4-round NFL mock draft from NFL.com's Chad Reuter. So basically what we're going to be doing, you guys know what we do around here. We break down a rookie mock with the landing spots and the draft capital and all the stuff that Chad Reuter says here as if it were the actual NFL draft. So we're going to do a Superflex mock with our Discord members and, flocker tiers and all that kind of stuff first, and then when we're done that, we'll do a one quarterback mock because I know a lot of you guys are always clamoring for us to do some one quarterback stuff too.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously this is some of the favorite, live streams that we'll have, just seeing the landing spots, contextualizing the fits, and ultimately how that's going to impact the market as it comes to the rookie draft. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it affects the Superflex market and the one quarterback market, like we'll see on the stream.
Yeah. So, Danny, if you want to throw the link in the YouTube chat as well. So if anybody here is in the YouTube comments and wants to get in on the draft here, you can join up as well. But like I said, these are the landing spots that we're going to be using. I'll put it on the screen here in a second. So this is Chad's mock here. We're going to be breaking down the rookie mock based on these landing spots. So I'll try and put these up pretty much anytime there's a pick made or, every couple picks or whatever. So we know what we're doing and where these players actually went. So we need quite a few members of the mock still filled up. We put it into both of our Discords. If you guys are members over there, go check out the links there. And then it is also down below in the YouTube comments if you want to join as well. So
the question I do have quickly is, was it Kincaid or Downs to the Cowboys at 26?
Oh, did I write?
I noticed that. I noticed that quick. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's not supposed to say Downs there.
You're good.
I'll fix that.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping it'd be Downs. I don't want that.
It is Kincaid, unfortunately.
Pain. What's good, Nate? What's good? What's good, Micah? Let's do this thing. How we doing? Doing well. Just getting it out there. Potentially LaFoot being back today against Chicago, so we'll see what's going on there. But
who?
Yeah. I was making a joke. I called him LaFoot because LeBron's been out with a foot injury.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just adding this into the thing. What was it?
Yeah, Micah said Downs was a leftover from the previous one, maybe.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I just moved him there.
I would be upset if we took Downs at 26. Yeah, I want a lineman. I want offensive or defensive line. If in our mock draft, right? If Brian Brzee fell to 26, I'd be all over that. So, should be
okay.
Fun.
So a couple more people in here. I think I didn't not fucking save. Am I stupid? Okay, I guess I'm stupid. Hold on. Very unorganized live stream to start it off. This is how we do it on Sundays, typically.
Amen. Amen. Talking about LaFoot and having issues with the mock.
All right. That should be correct now.
Perfect.
You should be able to see them. So before we get into the mock, we'll obviously set that up, but we do have some fellas, just 2 more spots here, and then we'll get this thing going. Sebastian, holla to the mother flockers out there. Yes, of course. If you guys want access to a video that me and Danny put out on Saturday morning, I believe I put it out on the site.
Yep.
We broke down how to spot a breakout candidate. So I believe this is the first time we've ever had like an exclusive video content setup because even, when we started our Patreon, we were not usually making video content behind like a paywall or anything. But if you guys are members over there on the new site, flockfantasy.com, use the promo code FSE, you'll get access to the new video series that we're doing, Dynasty 101. We did the first one on the channel for free, talking about how the league markets are broken down. I did one for like brand new Dynasty players, breaking down just what Dynasty is and how it's different from redraft and that kind of stuff. And then me and Danny, like I said, on Saturday, did a video breaking down how to spot breakouts at each position. So Sebastian also says, what would you guys include to move up from the 107 to the 105 in Superflex? Are you talking about a rookie draft, probably, I'm assuming, or not?
I'd assume so. I'd assume he probably needs a quarterback and wants to hop into maybe getting the Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud type of range. It really depends. That would be something I'd want to see when I'm on the clock, what exactly is available at the 105, because it would change my answer. If I'm looking at Jahmyr Gibbs, the cost would be less for me with what I would want to give up from going to 107 to 105. However, if Anthony Richardson fell, if Bryce Young fell, if CJ Stroud fell, relative to what I'd pay beforehand, I'd be willing to pay more.
according to Keep Trade Cut, JSN goes before 105. So that's probably the player that a lot of people would take over Richardson potentially or Young. So if 105 is guaranteeing you a quarterback, like I said, I'd be okay giving up even a late first on top of that, and maybe getting like a second in 2024 back as like a pick swap or something. Like if you have the 107 and 111 and you can get the 105 in a 2024 second, I think I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, no, that'd be fair.
If it's for a quarterback, obviously.
Yeah. I need a live stream where I can just, don't worry, the NFL live stream that we're going to have for the draft this year, we basically just talk about our teams for a lot of the time anyways.
Yeah. So Kevin is the first guy on the clock here. He's picking at the 101. He has the option here. Bijan Robinson with top 10 draft capital going to the Chicago Bears, where he'd presumably see a big time workload. Obviously, he could go with he does go with Bijan here, so we see him go with Bijan Robinson off the board at 101. Now we get into, for us, the quarterback range. Bryce Young goes second to Houston. CJ Stroud goes to Ohio State, obviously goes to Ohio State, goes to Carolina at first overall. And then Anthony Richardson was the third overall pick to the Colts. They actually had to trade up one spot in order to secure their quarterback in this mock. Tano just loves him some JSN. So he loves JSN. I personally would not do this. I don't know if he thinks this is a one quarterback, but we are doing the Superflex one first. I guess I probably should have specified that. Okay, maybe we're doing the one quarterback one. Am I baked?
I mean, it says PPR Superflex rookie mock draft.
Do we want some take backs on this one? I believe we are doing the Superflex one.
Yeah, first. We're doing the Superflex, lads.
Let's see. Somebody's getting a huge value here at 104. I'm going to tell the chat that we are doing Superflex first.
I want to make sure that they know. Should we restart it if they say, oh, fuck? Like,
yeah, we got some oh, fucks in the chat here.
Yeah. Pause it and restart it because that's going to change the whole draft.
You have to pause and restart, unfortunately.
Pause.
Just remove the picks that we've had so far. I can't do any of that shit because you started this. So, well, in the meantime, let's answer some questions here. 101 owner's not happy with the team despite the draft capital, I'd imagine. I'd be overjoyed if as a 101 manager, if Bijan Robinson goes top 10 of the Bears. I think that's an awesome landing spot for him, and I think that's a great draft capital, obviously. So I wouldn't be disappointed whatsoever if he went to Chicago. They're a run heavy offense, and they have a rushing quarterback that can make him efficient.
Yeah, no, 100%. If he landed with Chicago, I mean, you already know that's going to be a nice run scheme. You already know the capital is going to lean itself to a lot of volume. And I mean, as much as I have optimism that they're going to throw the ball more than they did this past year, they were the most run heavy team in the entire NFL this past year. So Bijan Robinson landing in that spot gives another playmaker to the backfield for Fields. I think that'd be a slam dunk.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a lot of picks off the board here. Bryce Young, second overall to the Texans. He goes 102 in this draft. CJ Stroud goes third in the draft, first overall to the Carolina Panthers, as expected. Jaxon Smith-Njigba was actually a 21st overall pick to the Los Angeles Chargers. He goes off the board fourth in this rookie draft. And then Anthony Richardson, like I said, third overall to the Colts. Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe, went in the second round, tail end of the second round. You can't actually see it right now because this is on the screen. He went 63rd overall to the Kansas City Chiefs. That'd be a really, really interesting landing spot for Gibbs.
Yep.
I don't imagine he would go actually at the 1-6 if he went to Kansas City. I think people would probably overreact and take him higher than that. I don't know about you.
Yep. 107, we got Will Levis here.
On the board here at 110. Top 3 receivers, top 2 running backs, top 4 quarterbacks, all off the board. So I'm at the point in time where I got to look at the board and say, do I want to go with like a Charbonnet who goes to the Chargers here at 54th overall? That is probably the direction I'm going to go because I don't really love the landing spots of the other guys just quite yet. I mean, Hyatt's definitely interesting, going 22nd overall to the Kansas City Chiefs there. We also had Zay Flowers goes to Carolina at 39, which would also be a very interesting landing spot. I just went with Charbonnet, who's my RB3. To me, he's like in that third tier of prospect with Quentin Johnston and Will Levis for me, outside of those top 2 wide receivers, top 2 running backs, and the top 3 quarterbacks for me.
Yeah, I agree. I like that pick there, getting Charbonnet. Obviously, in this scenario, I'm assuming that either Austin Eckler's on a pay cut, maybe he leaves. Who knows? They're planning the future around Charbonnet. Get him there in the second round. He's just a Kellen Moore type of back, to be quite honest, in terms of what exactly they're going to fit. I think he can be Well, obviously, Ezekiel was worn down this past year, but if he can be that type of role only with a good player occupying it, I mean, we're talking about a guy that could be a top 20 running back, even despite Eckler being there, to be honest. The goal line
Yeah,
work.
exactly. So you went with QJ here. He went he fell out of the first round, but he went 34th overall to the Cardinals. There's a lot of rumors that D-Hop might get traded. I think if you trade D-Hop and you get a second rounder, third rounder, whatever the case is for him, bring in QJ to go opposite Marquise Brown, that would make some sense. Probably not the greatest rookie year in store for a guy like QJ with Kyler being injured, but long term, I think that'd be a great fit, especially for like rebuilding teams. Probably won't contribute too many points to your tanking type of rosters. And then Jordan Addison, where did he end up going? He went 12th overall to the Houston Texans, which to me is the absolute dream landing spot, dream fit for him, because I know people will overthink the landing spot, which is why I want him to go there, because he'll probably slide to like the 1-8, 1-9, 1-10 in rookie drafts. And I think it's a great fit for the offense. You get like a 49ers type scheme coming in. He's the in my opinion, the best pure separator at all three levels in the field in this draft class. So you get an offense that's going to value separation and get those type of playmakers the ball, just like kind of Brandon Ayuk has done for the 49ers. I think Jordan Addison can kind of occupy that role.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great fit. Obviously, outside of with Brandon Cooks leaving, outside of Nico Collins and John Mechie, there's a lot of opportunity there. Talented player, like you said, with Jordan Addison, can instantly be the number one on that team. I wouldn't, expect him to be a top 12 wide receiver in year one, but can he be a wide receiver 2 with all the peripherals we would look for a breakout candidate going into his second year? Absolutely.
Yeah, so we see some tight ends come off the board here. Michael Mayer goes 15th overall to the Packers. It's definitely one that's been popular. Kincaid comes off the board at 2-3. He goes 26th to your Cowboys. You probably don't love that pick, but I think it makes sense. I think that the Cowboys will probably value a guy like him. And then where did Marvin Mims go? Because he comes off the board here. He went 52nd to the Tennessee Titans. Tano's a big Marvin Mims guy supporter, apparently. I don't love that spot for him, and I don't love the prospect, if I'm being honest, too much. But yeah, I mean, 2-2, you're at a point where you can start to blend some of these guys together a little bit. I personally would have gone, with a guy like Josh Downs or whatever, but still in a decent spot. Where did Downs actually go? He went off the board. He fell to the third round, so that's a little bit dicey. He fell to the third round to the Baltimore Ravens, which is not really a great spot for him either. And then we got 2-4. Hendon Hooker goes off the board right at the top of the second round to the Las Vegas Raiders. You have Jimmy Garoppolo already in place there. To me, this pick would make no sense if I was Las Vegas, because you have like another game manager quarterback coming in. I don't know. Hendon Hooker's kind of a weird prospect, man, because he's got he's old, obviously, and he doesn't have a huge ceiling, but you can't play him right away because he's not healthy. So he's like a future pick who's an older prospect who doesn't have a ton of upside. It's almost Teddy Bridgewater-esque when he was coming out of Louisville. So Zach Evans comes off the board here, and Tajay Spears. Spears actually goes off the board 40th overall to the Saints, which is really good draft capital for him. And then Zach Evans comes off the board in the third round, 74th overall to the Cleveland Browns, probably pseudo Kareem Hunt replacement type of situation there. Josh Downs, like I said, 86th overall to the Baltimore Ravens. Danny's on the board here. I think Tank did actually not get drafted in this draft, but he does see his name come off to 8.
Yeah. And if this was the NFL draft that happened and this was my spot in the rookie draft, I would run to the podium and take Kendre Miller, getting that third round draft capital, landing spot with Arizona. We already know that if you have a back that can, fit the size, fit the speed, fit the 3-down capabilities like James Conner has, they can get a workload in Arizona. And when it comes to James Conner, he's still there. So year one, it might be a little bit of a slow tread, but I believe in terms of money, they can get off him past this year. Kendre Miller, we know he can contribute on all 3 downs, fits that size profile, like I kind of said. And for a team that is going to have Kyler back in 2024, can potentially make a move at that point to maybe, compete for some wins. I think Kendre Miller would be a great fit in that offense.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair one. We got some of the running backs, again, they didn't go in this draft like, Sean Tucker's and Roschon Johnson's and stuff like that because it's only a 4-rounder. Devon Achane, here's his name come off the board, top of the 4th round to the New England Patriots. I think Achane's probably worth the risk here. I could have definitely, favored the draft capital of like a Darnell Washington or, Cedric Tillman, I believe, came off the board mid-second round as well, but I'll take the shot there. When you're deciding between day 2, like tight ends and like day 2, like mid-level wide receiver prospects, and you like Devon Achane or you like, Chase Brown, who also went in the 4th round, I don't mind just taking the upside of the running back there at the end of the 2nd round. But you should probably favor the draft capital. But I guess I don't know because I think that's going to be a decision point for a lot of people when it comes to actual rookie drafts is do we take a bad prospect 2nd round wide receiver or 3rd round wide receiver, or do we take a good prospect 4th round running back, right? Because if, Dwayne McBride, Chase Brown, Roschon Johnson, all these dudes go in the 4th round and Jonathan Mingo comes off the board at 47th overall, are we going to take Jonathan Mingo over these guys just because he went in the 2nd round, or are we going to take the prospects that we know are much better for their position group? I think that's going to be a big time conundrum for people come rookie draft season.
I mean, to a lesser degree, like that would be the same scenario as like Tucker Kraft. Like, would you take Tucker Kraft or Luke Musgrave over one of these running backs? I don't know.
I probably wouldn't, to be honest.
I wouldn't either. I don't think.
I think aside from Kincaid, Washington, and Mayer, I don't think I'm going to spend a top 30 pick on a tight end.
Laporta could be interesting in the right spot. That's the only one that I can see maybe making that jump. And in here, 51st overall, 51st
Miami. The Dolphins would be very solid. Much the right spot for him. And then Washington goes 41st to the Titans there. Musgrave, like you said, goes off the board 47th to the Commandos. Then we got Boutte, who goes 71st to the Saints, stays in the state of Louisiana.
I think 303 is decent value for him if he gets day 2 capital. Obviously,
I don't think he would actually last this long if he actually went day 2 capital to the Saints.
Probably go at worst, mid-second? You think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make the argument even to take him over some of the running backs that we took, but
sure.
I probably would lean the running backs. Chase Brown, awful landing spot, obviously playing behind Kenneth Walker, 4th round draft capital. Yeah, hopefully, if Chase Brown gets 4th round draft capital, he at least goes to a team where he could get some major work there, because he would basically just be a Kenneth Walker handcuff at this point in the draft.
Yep.
And then Rashee Rice, I believe, went in the 2nd round here as well. He went 45th to the Packers. That's a pretty interesting. I honestly should have even went with him over a guy like Devon Achane where I was picking. Then we also have, like I said, Sean Tucker goes 3-7. He wasn't actually drafted, so we'd have to assume at this point that he would go 5th, 6th, or 7th round. And then Jonathan Mingo came off the board here at the 72nd pick to the Tennessee Titans. So looking at the remaining players here, I don't see a ton more from round 2. I don't know if we have any left from round 2. I think they're all off the board
now.
The
tight ends, right? Oh no, they went. But...
Cedric Tillman, I think, is the only guy that was not drafted.
He was drafted. He was drafted.
Was he?
Yeah, late 2nd.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even see his name. Okay, so I think all the 1st, 2nd round guys are gone. I think we're just looking at Jaden Reed from the 3rd round and Zach Kuntz even from the 3rd round, and then the rest of these guys were round 4 or not drafted in this mock. So
I knew Jaden Reed because I literally had my finger on him about to click him.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm on the board here. Roschon Johnson is my highest remaining running back. I personally don't think he would fall outside of the top 4 rounds.
Agree.
I think he would go at least in the 4th round, if not in the 3rd round potentially.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
YWL says, hey guys, what would you need in a half PPR to move from a young elite running back like Bryce Hall to a young wide receiver? Example, Amon-Ra, Waddle. To be honest, they go in a similar range, and I like to stay more flexible early in startup, so I wouldn't need anything. I would prefer those receivers.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
If somebody's willing to give you something on top of them, by all means, take a 2nd round pick or whatever.
Take a rookie second.
Yeah, take a rookie 2nd rounder or whatever. But if you're in a startup and you're at, the 18th or 19th overall pick and somebody wants to get your Bryce Hall, or maybe you just took Bryce and they're like, hey, I wanted Bryce. Do you want to swap picks or something like that? Then take Bryce Hall and a 6th round startup pick for an 8th round startup pick or something like that. Just because for me, I would have drafted those receivers ahead of Bryce Hall.
Yeah. Bijan would be a dog in Chicago for sure. One of the best landing spots easily for him. No, I would agree with that 100%. Addison with top 12 capital and going 4 picks behind JSN. Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me. So if it was me doing rankings based on this mock draft, not exactly, I would have the top 4 picks be the quarterbacks. I'd have JSN probably 1-5 because it is a better landing spot than Addison's, and then Addison 1-6, and then I'd have Gibbs 1-7.
I got a question for you though. Is CJ Stroud 1st overall to the Carolina Panthers, or are you taking Anthony Richardson 3rd overall to the Colts?
I would still take Stroud, I think.
I would take Richardson.
I go back and forth on a daily basis whether I would take Richardson or Stroud at 1-3, whatever whatever guy. I do believe that's where they're going to go. Stroud is going to go to the Panthers and Richardson's going to go to the Colts. It's possible that the Colts take Will Levis, I suppose, but I think that Richardson is the type of guy that they're going to favor just given the Steichen hire.
Speaking of Will Levis, I think 107 is very solid value for him because in this mock, The Vikings not only took him, which is already a good spot. You got Jefferson, you got playmakers on that offense. They traded up for him. They traded up from the 23rd overall pick to the 10th overall pick to make sure they got Will Levis. That already signals to me that Kirk Cousins, see you later. He would be gone in this scenario. Will Levis would be inheriting that team year one. And given that supporting system, 107 for a guy with that much upside, I think would be too hard to pass. So 107 there. I would honestly have serious debates about him with Gibbs.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm on the clock. I have not even looked at the landing spots.
I think Tank Dell might be the only guy left.
I can't even find him.
I'm looking. Tank Dell, Tanner
Scott,
McKee
maybe.
went already. A.T. Perry, did anybody take him?
A.T.
Perry's still on the board. He went 4th round to the New England Patriots there.
I got lucky. I
did
just snagged
Tyler Scott. Yeah, Tyler Scott, you just took him. So
yeah. I barely found him.
So Tank Dell would be the last guy here to the Falcons, 110th overall, but they already did take a receiver, I believe, with Cedric Tillman in the second round in this mock. And then A.T. Perry goes 4th. I'll take A.T. Perry. Fuck it. He's got athleticism, and it's a wide open receiving core pretty much. So it's possible that he gets some at this point in the draft. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Are you more likely to lean on draft capital in the third, 4th round? Because that's how I am. I'm more likely to just be like, just give me the 2nd round or 3rd round capital receiver if they're still available in the 3rd, 4th round. Than I am in the 2nd round when I'm like, hey, I'm deciding between a day 2 running back that's like he went 100th overall that I really liked versus a receiver that I don't really like who went 41st overall or something like that.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I would say once you get in the shot area, I feel like you just trust your own evaluation. But at the same time, it's like if there's a big discrepancy, let's just say, somebody went in the 2nd round. Like, I'm not just going to fade them because I didn't like them pre-draft. No, I'm going to trust
I got Tyquan Thornton at 3.8 in some of my rookie drafts last year. And it's I didn't really like Tyquan Thornton, but he went 52nd overall in the draft.
It's just
I was like, if I'm going to get him at the end of the 3rd round, I'll take him there.
Yeah, it's just process at that point. By the way, boys, 1 quarterback, 10 team, DJ Moore, 108, Jasicki in the 3rd, or 104, mid-2nd, and mid. I'm just going to take DJ Moore in the 108.
A 1 quarterback 104 is pretty interesting. I'm not going to lie.
It is, but I don't know.
You're probably going to get Addison there or Gibbs.
It's also a 10 team, so those seconds are going to have good value.
Yeah, I think I would take 104 side, to be honest.
I think I would, actually.
The 108, you're not going to get a great prospect at. The seconds are going to be decent value, and 104 to me, like Addison's startup value or Gibbs' startup value is going to be quite a bit higher than DJ Moore's for me.
Yeah, I think I would agree.
So I'll take the 104 side there. If you want to get the 1 quarterback rookie mock going, I'll kind of just recap this one here, and then we'll break down some more questions. I went just running backs McGee here. With Charbonnet, who went 52nd to the Chargers, with A-Chain, who went 4th round to the Patriots. Roshan didn't actually get drafted in this mock, but I think he would probably hear his name called probably pretty soon after in the 5th round. A.T. Perry went 4th round to the Patriots. I'm just loading up on Patriots, apparently. In this mock, Danny went with QJ in the 1st round at the 1-9, who went top of the 2nd to the Arizona Cardinals. Kendra Miller, another Arizona Cardinal, who went 79th overall, I believe. And then Jaden Reed, where did he end up getting drafted?
3rd round to the Giants, I believe.
3rd round to the Giants, and then Tyler Scott was, I believe, 4th round to somebody. 4th round to the
Broncos.
Broncos, yeah. So not a bad mock. Again, like I said, the only real disagreements I would have here, I think the players that went in the 1st round should have been the players that went in the 1st round. I don't have really any arguments there. 39th overall draft capital, Zay Flowers. He should be a back of the 1st round pick. Jalen Hyatt went 22nd to the Chiefs. He should be a back of the 1st round pick. The only guys that I would probably change is I would put Addison over Gibbs and Levis, and I would put Richardson over JSN, and then pretty much everything else is probably the right way I would put it.
Yeah, I think 105 for Richardson was a very, very good value.
Yeah, and then, a little early on Marvin Mims, I probably would have upgraded like a guy like Spears, who got really good draft capital, a guy like Downs, just because I like him as a prospect, and then Miller probably should have went higher as well. You got him a little later than you probably should have. Yeah,
no, I did not think he'd be there. So my shirt's a little...
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to send me the draft here, I'll just answer a couple questions. Yep. Tajay Spears is the 2nd running back in this mock, is notable for sure. Yeah. I don't know. The draft community has seemed to be all in on Tajay Spears being really high. I'm not exactly sure if that's how the NFL is going to view it. He's been at all these events, right? Like he's been at the Senior Bowl and the Combine. He had his pro day or whatever. Like, and I think NFL teams tend to like when prospects showcase everything. It usually helps their draft capital because they know kind of what they're getting into. But at the same time, like I don't know, he's a small back. He ran like a high 4.4 time. Like, I don't think he's a crazy athlete. And I'm not sure if NFL teams are going to be like, yeah, let me take this undersized back at 40th overall.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. To me, he seems more like a 3rd round pick, 4th or 5th running back off the board type of guy.
I'd agree with that. I'm in a 10-team super flex with 6 IDPs. My quarterbacks are Pickett and Watson, but starting running backs are Ryan and Mitchell. I still need some help too, and I have the 101, the 111, the 302, the 306, the 402. Draft Bijan or nah. If your quarterbacks are Pickett and Watson, I'm looking to trade down if I can.
I probably am too, but like I don't think you have to trade down.
Yeah, I don't think you have to, but if you're getting some of the offers that I see 101 go for, like,
oh yeah, for sure. If you could get quarterback equity 102 or 103 plus, 2024 first and like a young receiver or young running back or something like that, yeah, I'm totally fine making a move like that. But in a 10-team super flex, I'm less likely to want like elite quarterbacks too, and they're probably going to go for a little bit less. So to me, in a 10-team super flex, the pick value between 101 and 102 is bigger, like pick discrepancy.
I mean, relatively, yeah, but at the same time, it's like,
no, for sure.
Yeah.
Got offers 105,
You
109 in
more.
2 seconds. So
more.
Is this 105 for 109 in 2 seconds, or
no? I'm assuming for the 101.
Okay, this is what he's asking for the 101.
Yeah, I would need more for the 101 personally.
Yeah, I would say one of those picks, like
if you
like
can
those picks, 105 and 109 are like just tier break picks. Like if it was 104 and 107, I would feel a lot better about that because then you're guaranteed a quarterback, a top receiver, and 2 seconds. But 105, you might miss on all the quarterbacks. 109, you might miss on all the wide receivers.
Maybe your counter could be instead of the 2 seconds, you try to go for their 24 first. I think
even still, man, I think I would want like a more secure asset than 105 because like you're most likely looking at Smith-Njigba at 105.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
Gibbs
Richardson.
3rd round pick. Yeah, I don't think it's a guarantee that Jahmyr Gibbs goes in like the top in the 1st round. Like he could definitely fall to the mid-second.
To be fair, Corey, we're kind of talking about it earlier, but what if that's Anthony Richardson at the 105?
Oh yeah, if it's Anthony, but you can't guarantee that. Like I would want 104 if I'm trading down from 101 because then at least I know I'm getting a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Like what I would try to do at least, because overall I don't think the offer's enough. But if you can get the 2 seconds upgraded to a 24 first, then I would consider it. And that doesn't even mean I'd full accept. That would mean I would consider it.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to drop the link in the YouTube chat here, and then we'll get this thing filled up. This one will be a 1 quarterback one. We're gonna use the same landing spots, but it's gonna be a 1 quarterback mock. So don't draft the QBs too early because we are doing a 1 QB mock this time, but with the same landing spots, and we'll flash them on the screen as much as we can. But you guys that play in 1 quarterback leagues deserve some analysis as well. So we'll definitely be sure to talk more about like the overall landscape of the draft. Relative, because we do super flex drafts all the time, so we don't need to mention it as much. But for 1 quarterback leagues, we definitely need to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, that was wild there, Lil Miss. What's good, boys? At work, but had to join. Appreciate that. Did DJ Moore gain or lose value in the trade to the Bears?
The market says gain. He says he gained value.
Now, in terms of year 1 production, I think it's yet to see. Because if they're a 25 pass attempt per game type of team, I don't think the ceiling's crazy high. But if they decide, hey, you know what? Maybe we had alignment to the draft. We got a number 1 wide receiver. We realize right now that we should have thrown the ball more last year. And maybe they're closer to the 27, 28 range. If that's the case, I can see him having a top 15 type of fantasy season. But if he's at, 24, 25 pass attempts per game, he's probably going to max out as a low-end wide receiver too. Which, I don't know. If you buy a 25, 26-year-old receiver right now, and expect them to be a low-end wide receiver too this year, are you really getting the bang for your buck? I'm not quite sure. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's interesting because he definitely went up in value on the market, but it's remains to be seen, like you said, how it's actually going to affect his on-field performance because he could still very well be the exact same wide receiver 2-3 type that he's been for the last like 4 years.
Yeah. It's just funny that as soon as Carolina tries to bring in a quarterback upgrade, they ship out DJ Moore to do so.
Do you think his value, knowing that CJ Stroud I guess let's just say they could have made the trade work without sending DJ Moore away. Would you have liked his value more with Carolina, staying in Carolina?
Yeah, from a volume standpoint alone, yeah. I think
you would have knowing. Yeah, I think I would have as well. If they like instead of giving up DJ Moore, if they gave up like a third rounder or something on top of the package, I think that would have been a lot better for DJ Moore. But overall, I still think it's a quarterback upgrade nonetheless from what he's been playing with.
Agreed. I like Chase Brown a lot. I think he's very underrated. I mean,
he's my RB4 in the class right now. So you are speaking to the choir here. To me, it's very clearly Bijan in a tier of his own, Gibbs and Charbonnet in a second tier, and then Chase Brown's the leader of my third tier, which is basically the third tier of running backs that I have in this class is basically Chase Brown, Tank Bigsby, Roschon Johnson, and Sean Tucker is basically my third tier of running back.
Yep. I just got the 101. That's why I was fist bumping. You guys already know where I'm going to go with that. Bijan Robinson, 9th overall to the Chicago Bears. You can flash the graphic quick, and I'll get through some comments.
Okay, so we see in a one quarterback league, let's just put it this way. You want a top 5 pick. Like, plain and simple, you need a top 5 pick because I just finished watching and grading Quentin Johnston. He is absolutely belonging to be at least in the conversation with those top 2 wide receivers and in this top 5 tier in one quarterback leagues. The picks that you do not want in a one quarterback league are 106 to 108, probably, depending on what happens with Charbonnet. If Charbonnet gets great draft capital, then maybe 106 is fine. But 107, 108, and 109 are probably the worst picks to pick from in a one quarterback league because you're completely reliant then on, Zay Flowers getting a great landing spot or Jalen Hyatt getting a great landing spot or, some of these day 2 running backs or some of these day 3 running backs going on day 2 like Sean Tucker or Chase Brown or something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, side note, I didn't get to say the line because it's just a traditional meme at this point, but played against Chase Brown back in the day. All right, had to say that. Thank you, guys. I'm stacked at wide receiver with Waddle, Chase, and Olave. It's actually a 12 team. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, no, if it's a 12 team, then if you can get that upgrade to a 24 first, and like Corey kind of said, has more value with the quarterback position at that point, I'm all for it. Also, I bet, man, you can't be auto picking after your first pick. Come on.
I mean, he got the player that should have gone there, though, at least.
Fair. If you're far from contending, are you drafting Bijan or take the mother load? Always trading for the mother load if I'm not competing. I don't.
Yeah, if I'm not competing, I'll see what the mother load is, but it has to be a mother load though. Like I'm not just gonna trade to trade. Like it needs to be an elite pick. So the top 6 picks in this draft go off the board pretty chalky. Like I said, I can go over the landing spots one more time just so you guys remember. Bijan 9th overall to the Chicago Bears. He was the 101. 102 was Jaxon Smith-Njigba, 21st overall to the Chargers. Jahmyr Gibbs was the 103. He goes off the board 64th overall to the Kansas City Chiefs or 63rd. Jordan Addison goes 12th overall to the Texans. He was the 104. QJ was the 105. He went off the board 34th overall to the Cardinals. And then Zach Charbonnet, 52nd or 54th overall to the Los Angeles Chargers was the 106. And then Bubba's on the board here with a real kind of dilemma here. If I was him, I would probably have gone the direction he went. Was Jalen Hyatt first round draft capital was probably I would have gone with as well.
Yep. If you're from, are you drafting? Oh, sorry, I already read that. Traded Christian Watson the 112 and the 2024 second for Deshaun and 12. Yeah, that's a steal. That is a steal. Yeah, go repeat. Yeah, Young Money. You just got a free elite quarterback. That's nice. Is there an argument to be made that Stroud could be the 102 over Young, assuming draft capital? Yeah, no. I think someone can easily make that argument. Like if they prefer Young or Stroud to Young in the process, and then the NFL also prefers Stroud to Young, like if he's your quarterback 1, he's your quarterback 1. I do think that if somebody were to say any of the top 3 quarterbacks were their quarterback 1 for fantasy, I wouldn't bat an eye.
No, yeah. If somebody wants to take Richardson 102, then they can take Richardson 102. If they want to take Stroud 102, then take Stroud 102. I personally would take Young 102, but I don't think it's far and away a huge decision. I think Young is the best prospect, and I think the Texans are the perfect fit for his ability. So that's why I think he's the 102 in terms of the thing here. If Bryce, CJ Stroud, for what it's worth, is a great fit for his offense as well, but knowing that they won't have a first rounder next year and some of the pieces that they brought in are more so like band-aid type of options, not like solidified number 1s going forward. And not that the Texans are well built on offense, but at least they have the assets next year if they stink again to draft Marvin Harrison or something like that.
Yep, no, I'd agree there. I'm on the clock though. I'm trying to see exactly what's left available.
I would take a quarterback here.
Oh, right. I didn't even realize that the quarterbacks would have fallen. Yeah, I'll take Bryce Young. Good call.
Yeah. I mean, so the picks that we had here, Spears, like I said, 40th overall to the Saints. He goes off the board 109. Little rich for me, but I understand it with the draft capital. Michael Mayer goes off the board 15th overall to the Packers. He was the 108. I took Zay Flowers, who's the 39th pick to the Carolina Panthers. I think it's a perfect fit for him and CJ Stroud. Dalton Kincaid, 26th overall to the Cowboys. He was the 111. Richardson was the 3rd overall pick to the Colts. Bryce Young, 2nd overall pick to the Texans. And then CJ Stroud, 1st overall pick to the Panthers. Those guys come off the board. This, in a 1 quarterback league, I got to be honest, I'm sending early 2nd rounders in trades right now. I don't really want an early 2nd rounder unless you're in need of a quarterback where you can get one of these young dudes or whatever. I just don't see a whole lot of value unless for whatever reason Chase Brown, Sean Tucker, all these dudes go in the 2nd and 3rd rounds of the NFL draft, which doesn't look like to be, a likely scenario right now. I think that early 2nd rounders in 1 quarterback leagues are a vastly overrated asset. And you could probably get some decent young receiving talent or decent young running backs or maybe a young tight end or something like that. I would just rather do that than spend those picks, to be honest.
Like an early 2nd round, you said, right?
Yeah, like if I had the 203 in a 1 quarterback league and I'm looking at the board right now, I mean, Pionio took Cedric Tillman. Like I probably would have taken Josh Downs, but even still, you're not looking at like a great board and you can trade that pick for Elijah Moore right now. Like go do it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay. I do think
like
though,
Bateman too, like trade it for those type of dudes. Like I would rather re-roll on those guys.
I do think though, if you need a quarterback, I think it's a nice little honey spot in this 112 to 202 type of range. And worst case scenario, if they go higher, then you get, a Flowers falling or a Spears falling in this scenario or Hyatt or someone like that. But I would agree for the most part, like once the quarterbacks are gone, it does get a little bit ugly. There's also one running back that is
point in the draft. So we're seeing some guys, Tucker and Bigsby, were not actually drafted in this mock, but I mean, we'd probably assume that they went like the 5th round or something like that.
Bubba got the running back I was talking about. Kendre Miller getting 3rd round capital, 207 and 1 quarterback would be fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is Terrace Marshall worth a stab without DJ Moore in town? That just tells me that they're going to draft a receiver at 39. Not to mention, like the ideal role that you would want for Marshall, they just signed DJ Chark. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other ideal role that he played at LSU was playing in the slot, and they just signed Adam Thielen too. So, and if they draft a receiver at 39, they'll probably be a slot receiver because Downs and Flowers will probably be the top 2 guys on the board.
Or could be Hyatt, but with Chark, I would guess that's probably unlikely now.
If I had to make a bet on Hyatt, Downs, and Flowers, which one's most likely to go in the 1st round? I think Hyatt is the most likely to go in the 1st round.
I think it would be Flowers, but they're close. I would agree it's them two pretty easily over Downs from what we're hearing. With that being said, I think I would prefer Downs the most out of those guys, but like they're all.
I don't even like Zach Evans, but I got to take him here.
3rd round, yeah, absolutely. Not to mention, I mean, we talk about the wear and tear at running back all the time. Like Nick Chubb's a 27-year-old running back. He's got 1,200 plus carries under his belt. Like
real I got top 75 draft capital running back to a guy that has an explosive skill set. I'm not a huge fan of his game overall. I don't think he's going to provide much on 3rd down, so I don't love the idea of him fitting behind Nick Chubb, at least in the early going, but I don't know. Zach Evans' 3rd round draft capital seems pretty fine to me. Yep. Although, I mean, Roschon Johnson to me is just vastly the superior running back to him, as is Dwayne McBride, Chase Brown, and Deuce Vaughn, who are still on the board. But I'm just leaning on the draft capital here because they were drafted in the 3rd round there by the Browns. What else we got here?
Yeah. In terms of Stroud versus Young. Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a fair argument. We know this is a mock because Bush and Danny would have been trading all these big facts. Big facts. If you guys don't know, we're doing our no flock and startup over with the members at Flock Fantasy right now. And I am actually not sure, aside from Jalen Hurts, if I have picked at my correct pick slot throughout the draft.
Yeah, I mean, aside from Josh Allen, who I took at 102, I'm pretty much in the same spot.
If I check this, how many picks were actually from my original pick slot? It is probably not many. 1, 2, 3 total picks from my pick slot, and we're in the 14th round.
Well, that's, kind of what we do around here.
Amen. Oh, I am on the clock here. I did not know. I mean, I'll just take the 2nd round receiver, I guess, to Rashee Rice. I'm not a huge fan. But
Claire asked if AR-15 goes to the Colts at 4th overall or 3rd overall in this mock draft. How do their current skill players fall? Or how far does, like Pittman probably? I mean, I don't think Taylor falls at all. I think it'd be great for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. And the
But
receivers?
Pittman would probably, I mean, Pittman wasn't even, he had no quarterback last year and he still gave you some, decent production, I would say. He probably is not like a top 15 upside type of wide receiver anymore. If they get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, which probably won't happen given where they're picking, even Will Levis would be more helpful, I would say, than AR-15 for Michael Pittman Jr. But you never know, man. Like how big of a difference is it for Michael Pittman Jr. if they draft Will Levis versus Anthony Richardson?
Well, let's look at it right now, right? So I'm already like a little bit lower than on Pittman than you are. I would already rather have Judy, Watson, guys like that straight up. But like if Anthony Richardson goes there, then you're comparing him amongst like Jameson versus him would be pretty close, I would say. The DJ Moore, or Calvin Ridley, guys like that. I'm just looking at our startup. That's how I'm getting like the relative names around that range.
Yeah, I would take Pittman over those guys personally.
Not over Judy though, right?
Not over. I don't know. Pretty close. Probably not over Judy, but over Calvin Ridley, I definitely would take him over.
That's fair. Speaking of Calvin Ridley, I actually made a pretty blockbuster trade in one of the leagues I'm actually competing in. Danny competing, I know, pretty wild, but I traded Lance in the 111, and I got Tannehill, Michael Thomas, Calvin Ridley, Ramondre Stevenson in the 206.
Dude, what the hell is that guy doing?
He's tanking, and he needed a quarterback.
I guess, but for me, if I'm tanking, I think one of the worst things you can do personally if you're tanking is invest in Trey Lance.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
I'm way more likely to invest in Trey Lance if I have some value to burn potentially.
Well, usually when you're tanking, you've already done moves to build your value. I would say like you're already. I guess,
but if it's a tear down trade, it sounds like this guy is. I probably would not trade for Trey Lance because your goal when you're tearing it down is to invest in assets that have long-term liquidity and aren't going to make your roster even worse. And Lance, if he misses this year, has a chance to make your roster terrible. I mean, the upside obviously is that he could hit and make your roster that much better. But for me, I think the latter or like the former is more likely. I think there's a higher chance that Lance misses than there is that he hits.
See, maybe that's where I'm at on the spectrum, like of Lance hitting versus missing. I view the upside case much more. Though I do agree in terms of structure, I would probably rather say, would you be willing to give up like the 110 and the 111? You know what I mean? Like I would rather like trade dart throws at the end of the first this year with like second round or day 2 wide receivers, day 2 tight ends, guys like that, and take a chance on Lance at that point for that price tag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just laughing at I just looked ahead to Leo's comment. He said, "Who's your wide receiver 6?" That's the cursed wide receiver, right? Jahmyr, Bell. So for what it's worth, Brandon Ayuk was my wide receiver 6 in 2020. So it's not completely a cursed wide receiver. But my wide receiver 6 last year, yes, was David Bell, and it was De'Ami Brown 2 years ago. So my wide receiver 6, if I had to say so right now, I have not fully finished grading Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt, and Josh Downs, but as of right now, I think Jalen Hyatt will be my wide receiver 6.
No, a few years ago it was Tamorian Terry.
He was my wide receiver 8.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a 6.
That was in 2020. So in 2021, I remember I had it. Amon-Ra St. Brown was sandwiched in between 2 busts. It was De'Ami at 6 and Tamorian Terry at 8, who probably murdered somebody. And wide receiver 7 was Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then my top 5 was Chase Smith, Waddle, Elijah, and Bateman.
Jesus.
But yeah, Amon-Ra was right in between those dudes.
Give CD for Devontae 109 than 204. I think I'd want more personally.
Yeah, I'd rather have Lamb, I think.
Like if this was like Devontae in the 105, I would probably take the package. But the 109 and the 204 just don't move the needle enough for me.
Yeah. They're just not that great of picks, to be honest.
Leo said, "Don't draft Hyatt." Got it. How far do their current skill players fall? Oh, we already went through that. Unless you have a bunch of RB needy teams at the front end of your draft. Yeah. No Micah. Oh, okay. They're talking to each other.
There's some chats going on. You're way behind. Now, let me just do this. Daniel says, "I love JSN to LAC, but kind of hope he goes to Baltimore or New England just so he fall." I see. I know what you mean, but I still think JSN is one of the most ironclad landing spot proof dynasty profiles that there is in this year's class. Addison, people are already 50-50 on. That's why I think I would like for him to go to a rough landing spot. Same with QJ too. I think a lot of people would be out on QJ if he goes to like Baltimore or New England or something like that. But with JSN, he's just so clearly the dynasty wide receiver one by the market right now. In this rookie class that I don't think he could really, it doesn't really matter where he goes. I just still think people would be high on him.
Agreed. This is what we missed. My cousin said, nice shirt. Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah.
103, 104, 105, Stafford, Russ, Jefferson, AJB, Higgins, literally no running backs. Trade Brown for Bijan, draft JSN 105, take quarterbacks 103, 104. I'd be willing to do something like that. I think that's actually a good plan.
You'd be trading AJ Brown for the 101. I would rather have the 101 than AJ Brown. So
draft JSN at the 105, so you supplement the wide receiver, and then you're already taking quarterbacks at the 103 and the 104. I also wouldn't mind maybe trying to attach one of those 103, 104 to Stafford or Russ, and then going after like Dak.
Yeah, I would rather. I mean, if you can get Bryce at 103, I'd rather have Bryce and Dak anyway. So I don't
do
really
the 104 then.
Yeah, I would probably just draft those young quarterbacks, draft Bijan, and then trade Stafford or Russ for it, or one of them, like whatever one you don't want, maybe Stafford because Russ has the Sean Payton coaching upgrade, and seeing if you can get just some like running back. Like if somebody has like Damian Harris and Rashad Penny on their team and you're trying to turn the corner and compete, and you could trade Stafford for Damian Harris, Rashad Penny, a second round pick or something like that, you could potentially do something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
What kind of package would you need to trade Josh Allen? 4 firsts and someone's firstborn child, probably.
I'm
not trading Josh Allen unless somebody absolutely blows my fucking brains out.
If you guys want a relative trade that can happen, also another trade just got accepted in this league that I didn't even see 45 minutes ago, but where is it? I actually traded for Josh Allen in a league recently, so I want to grab the trade for you guys so you guys can see what's up. So this is what I gave up to go and get Josh Allen. I gave up CeeDee Lamb, Justin Fields, and the 2023 first is the 109, and I got Josh Allen and Drake London.
You took that guy out of the woodshed, dude. There's no chance I would have given up Josh Allen for that.
Okay.
Not that CeeDee Lamb and Justin Fields and the 109 is not a decent package. Like those are all 3 solid assets, but I would want that package just for Josh Allen. Like I wouldn't have given you Drake London too.
Damn. Okay. Fair. The way I'm looking at that is Fields is giving you probably at least
he is, but he's not a guarantee at quarterback. I'm not trading a guarantee at quarterback for a guy that has upside like Fields.
Fair. Okay. You're also lower on Fields than I am, right?
I do Josh Allen and Mahomes. Like you literally gotta blow the doors off for me to trade those guys.
Yeah, fair.
Trade Josh Allen for 102, 106,
no.
Pollard, Mac. Not even.
No.
I wouldn't even give that offer the time of day.
I might block the guy's number.
I just got auto picked. LOL. Auto picking in my own.
Will Mallory.
Who?
Will Mallory. Don't draft high. I got it. Trade CeeDee Lamb for a 2024 second and a direct. Oh, come on, man. It's a bandana.
Man's making real life trades out here.
It's a bandana, A, and B, he gets 20.2 million monthly listeners. So JID.
Wait, did this happen to you?
Yeah, you don't know this bandana signed by JID?
Wait, this was you that Ernest made this trade with?
No, he's joking around because I said I got a bandana signed by JID, and then the older gents in the chat were like, who?
Yeah, I mean JID is definition of who.
Come on, 20.2 million monthly listeners. You guys are just not in the game.
Those are rookie numbers in this.
You guys are just not in the game.
Yeah. Anyways,
Bush the type of guy to play passion fruit once he gets off the screen and just wiggle his toes.
Yeah, dude, passion fruit's a banger. I'll tell you what, Drake signed that bandana be worth a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, dude, the most commercialized rapper of all time. It's insane.
Don't care. Still good. Anyways, I definitely would have taken Will Mallory there with my last pick. I probably would have taken. I mean, I don't think Tank Dell got drafted in this draft, and he went in the 4th round in the mock. So I probably would have just gone. It's cold. I I'm not a huge rap guy. Like I loved rap in high
ball.
school, but honestly, all I listen to now is like old like 60s and 70s music and like country. Like that's all I listen to now. So and like my favorite rappers, if they drop stuff, like if Jack Harlow drops music or Mac Miller drops music from his grave, then I'll listen to that. But for the most part, I don't listen to like new rappers like JID.
For the JID stands in the chat, got that.
Yes, we see it, Danny. He signed it. That looks kind of Mickey Mouse too. It looks like you might have just taken a Sharpie to that.
Do you need to see the picture for confirmation?
No, I'm good. I don't really care that much.
Got the meet and greet for real.
Yeah, I don't. Jack Harlow is like a commercialized rapper as well. I don't listen to rap. Like I just like Jack Harlow's music. Anyways, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to fire them away. We'll be on here for another like 5 minutes or so, maybe answering questions. There we go. Danny's got his picture with JID there. And we'll probably head off of here. I'm gonna go to it's actually so nice out. Like if you guys live in a cold place, typically like we do in Canada, this is we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And also screw you guys if you live in like a hot place and it's warm all the time.
I love how there was shade thrown on JID and then all the boys are backing me now.
Yeah, whatever. Push told on himself. Yeah, I did. Lamar owner panicking a bit. I feel like most Lamar owners are panicking a bit. Also, speaking of owners panicking, I saw a poll on Twitter, or not a poll. Draft Sharks tweeted out, "Is Kyle Pitts still the Dynasty tight end 1?" And every comment was like, "No, not as long as Arthur Smith is there. I would rather have Travis Kelce." Somebody said he's probably like Dynasty tight end 8 or 9, and they were dead ass serious. It was like a Dynasty podcast that said that. I'm like, you guys are high as fuck.
That is crazy.
It's hilarious, man. So it sounds like Kyle Pitts is like one of the bigger buy lows in the history of fantasy at this point, based on those comment section. But Akaden says, Lamar owner panicking a bit. How much would you add to Trevor Lawrence and DJ Moore to get Lamar and Waddle? I'd be willing to give you a second probably on top of that.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a huge difference between Waddle and DJ Moore for me.
Yeah.
A much bigger difference than Lawrence and Lamar. I think Lawrence and Lamar is pretty much a wash.
I would rather Lamar than Lawrence.
I would rather Lawrence, but it's like pretty much a wash.
I mean, like you got evidence of that because did I take Lamar over Lawrence in our startup or did I take him one pick after?
I think somebody took Lawrence ahead of you.
Either way, I would have taken Lamar. So for me, you're getting double upgrades. Like you could probably convince me to give like the 110, the 111.
Yeah.
Like if it's like 107, here. No.
If Lawrence has a monster season this year, is he in competition for the 101 in Dynasty?
No. 103 maybe.
What if he wins the MVP this year?
That would be a big projection.
I don't think it would be.
If he wins MVP, then yeah, you could argue him as the quarterback one.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he'd be 24, 25 years old
24,
versus Mahomes would be 28 after this year kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
and Allen would be like 27, 28 as well. Yeah. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I think you could make the argument that you could potentially, if Lawrence just has a monster year, like he needs to have a monster year. Obviously.
He needs to have 40 passing touchdowns.
One of the best 3 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Realistically, he would need 40 passing touchdowns because realistically with him, right? Justin Herbert, like, what's the biggest difference between what he would do next year versus like what Justin Herbert's done?
I think there is a massive difference between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
Justin Herbert.
Oh, I thought you said Justin Fields.
No.
I think Lawrence. There's a bet. The value accumulation is better for Lawrence because people didn't like Herbert coming out, so they're inherently he's more divisive of a quarterback. I think Lawrence just naturally is well liked by everybody.
I don't think anybody is like low on Justin Herbert at this point. Like, even if
he gets called like a social media quarterback all the time.
Oh, okay. Like that's trolls though. People say the same shit about fucking like Dak and Kyler and shit.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that if Trevor Lawrence goes out there and has like a borderline MVP candidate season, like people will treat him as like the best quarterback or one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just because everybody was so consensus on him coming out of school.
But what if Lamar? I mean, on the same
Lamar,
side,
Lamar will not go any higher in value than he is now. I promise you that. He could give you the production, and he's absolutely worth it. But his value will not exceed 105, 106.
You don't think he can jump back past like Hurts?
Hurts has got a couple of years on him, and like I said, if
but like what if Lamar has the season that he had in 2019?
then he could be the 103 again, I guess. But I don't know if that's likely to happen. And that also, even if he does do that, if Lawrence has a monster year and breaks out, he's got like 5 years on him or 4 years on him.
Fair.
So I don't know. For me, I think Lamar is going 105 to 108 now. I think he's probably going to still go 105 to 108, even if he has a great season.
Yeah, maybe. However, I do think if you're going to invest into a top 7 pick at quarterback, I do want that league winning type of ceiling.
No, for sure. He's worth it from a production standpoint. I'm just talking like startup value. I don't think he's going to really change at all.
Fair. Okay.
I took over a really bad orphan team. Is there an argument to be made to take quarterbacks at 102, 103, and 105 if possible? So like take all 3 quarterbacks? Yeah, if they're all there, I'll take all 3.
Well, he does say he has Fields already. I
don't really care who you have at quarterback. Yeah. Those are the best players on the board.
If they are, assuming like JSN goes 4, yeah. Okay, yeah, I would do that.
Well, I think that's what the consensus says is that JSN is going to go 4 in most leagues. So if you can take Bryce and Stroud at 102 and 103 and JSN goes 104, then yeah, I'll take Richardson at 105.
I don't mind having fucking 5 quarterbacks and using them as flippers.
Yeah, like again, to keep in mind what your league market is. If people don't really understand how Superflex works, then maybe don't do that. Because there's some people that even though they play in a Superflex league, still value the quarterback position like 1 quarterback leagues. But as long as people understand that that's like kind of how the consensus is, then yeah, just take all those guys. And then, once we get some training camp hype on one of them, whether it's Stroud, Young, Richardson, whoever it ends up being, you can just sell one. Or you can sell Fields if you want to.
Shipped off Lamar and Hunt for Tua and Waddle. I want Lamar, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, this is essentially what this question is asking is, would you rather have like the 107, 108 in a startup? Or would you rather have a 2-3, like a second, like the 212 and the 301?
The thing is I see Tua following further than the 301 in most leagues.
Like I guess, but I think that's give or take where his value is on the market.
Yeah. So the 107 versus a late 2 and like a mid 3. I just want the quarterback. I want the elite quarterback. And I mean, like Hunt's also probably like a 13th rounder.
I think that's give or take a fair deal, but I'm probably on the same page as that. I would probably rather just have the elite quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of those deals where it's like, yeah, that's probably fair, but I want a little bit more if I'm giving up an elite quarterback.
Well, if Lamar's hitting his ceiling point per game production, like what's the big difference in his point production versus what Tua and Waddle would provide you?
Well, yeah, and then you also have the value over replacement factor of what he's giving to you to the rest of the quarterbacks, and also you can still start a receiver and where Waddle would be.
Yeah, that's what I believe. In a league, I am tanking to get Caleb. Traded Burrow for Cousins, 224s and a second. We'll trade Cousins for more draft capital in 2024. Did I get it ripped off?
I would have wanted more for Burrow.
I would have wanted. If you could have at least gotten that second into another first, then it's the conversation. But the fact that it was only 224s, like, just give me Burrow.
I would have needed at least Cousins 3 firsts in 2024 and a 2025 second, probably, or 2024 second. Like I think Burrow is worth like almost 4 first rounders.
Top 5 startup value.
Yeah, like he's worth quite a bit. So I get you're tanking to get Caleb, and that helps you get him, but I would have wanted more for Burrow probably. That's the tough thing too about trading quarterbacks in Superflex is there's not going to be many teams in your league that even have the assets capable to trade for them.
Yeah, no, that is fair. 12-team Superflex PPR, start 10. Also, let me turn my mic a little bit down. Have Lamar, Gino, KW9, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, ARSB, London, Bateman, Pitts. Have the 102 and the 104. Should I take 2 quarterbacks or go quarterback than JSN or Gibbs? Also,
there's a chance Bijan drops to 102.
If Bijan falls to the 102, you take Bijan. But aside from that, I'm just smashing 2 quarterbacks there. I'm not taking JSN or Gibbs over Richardson, Stroud, or Young. Not a chance.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, so Maria's laughing in the other room right now.
Oh.
She just walked in here to grab some like chapstick or something and started laughing immediately.
She probably heard that you didn't know who JID was. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Caleb Williams, I think the pick that ends up being so like the 101 in 2023 is worth what? The 10th to 15th 10th to 14th overall startup value right now. The
I got a
101 in
bold take.
2024, because it's a quarterback and not a running back, should probably be,
I
I would say, like if we were in a startup right now and you could somehow place the 2024 101,
Well,
where would you put it?
I was just going to say, I got a bold take for you. You can make the argument that that's the 103.
I think that's too high.
It probably is, but if somebody
I think
were
it's
to
the
say,
108,
no,
after Lamar and Lawrence, I think is where I would put it.
no,
I would rather have Trevor Lawrence than Caleb Williams, 100%. I'd rather.
I think that's the argument point.
Williams.
But we're saying that now, right? Like, and again, like if I had any of those guys, I would want Caleb plus if I was making the deal. Let's not even like go crazy, right? Like I'm not gonna just take them over or take Caleb Williams over any of them just because I may prefer Williams. But if you were to tell me right now I had to make that decision point and I couldn't trade out and I couldn't get more value, like I think it's actually like a tier. Like I think you can make the argument over Caleb over any of them.
I would take Caleb over Justin Fields. I would take Caleb over, whatever, but I would not take Caleb Williams over Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, or Lamar Jackson.
What we know now, I would agree, but I wouldn't be shocked if going into next year, once we know he's the 101, like I think he's a better prospect than Lawrence was.
He definitely could be. It's not out of the range of outcomes that he is, but I think just given some kind of unknown factor about how he's going to perform in his next season, and what we don't know what team he's going to get drafted to. Maybe it's some dumpster fire that has no picks or anything like that. Like
I think the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like out of any quarterback in the entire quarterback landscape, you just asked the question with Trevor Lawrence, I was iffy on it. I said 103. I think if Caleb Williams had a Justin Herbert, had a Justin Herbert rookie season, had a Trevor Lawrence second season, one of those like
no doubt he would be the 103 after that season.
I think he could be the 101 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh yeah, he could for sure. Yeah, he would definitely be in conversation with Mahomes at the top of the board there. But to me, I would have to see him do it in the NFL before I put him over like proven superstar quarterbacks.
No, and I agree with that, and that's why I would need market value, and I'd probably rather make a transition. But, dude, man, like there's a select few of people on the planet, of the history of the planet, that would have the ability to overtake Mahomes or Allen in a startup, and he's one of the few, given what he represents. So
he is one of the only few. Because if you're taking Caleb at let's say after his rookie season, like you said, he has a Herbert caliber rookie season. He'll be 22 years old heading into his second year, and Mahomes will be 29 at that point in time.
Yeah.
Allen will be 29 at that point in time. You could definitely make the argument that he should be above those guys. And I think he probably will. I don't even think that'll be an argument.
It's crazy that we've gotten to this point that people are so good at adapting to the youth factor in Dynasty.
Well, we don't know that for sure. Some like the market would still be like, I'm not drafting, and that's fair. Like you're like, I'm not.
It is fair.
Like Mahomes still has 7 or 8 great years left. I don't care if he's 29.
Absolutely.
That's fair. But to me, I would probably favor the young asset.
It's fun to just have these conversations, right? Because as much as we like balk at it, like it's a real conversation, and people don't want to acknowledge it quite yet because we're a full year out. But man, he goes first overall. Maybe he's your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And he throws 28 touchdowns in year one. Like
I'm wanting at Caleb Williams, but I don't know if we're gonna be bad enough.
I don't think you will. But
I can't see us out tanking like Arizona without Kyler.
No, I agree. Though Arizona would also.
I'll trade for Kyler though if they want to trade Kyler away and draft Caleb Williams.
Just saying, like, out of all the teams that look like they're going to tank this year, like, they got some decent supporting systems to a certain degree. Like, at least in Arizona, you got some wide receiver talent out there.
Kyler, too.
Huh? Yeah, no, exactly.
If you take Caleb at 1, and I think they'd be stupid not to take Caleb. If I'm Arizona. Kyler's a great quarterback, but I'm taking Caleb Williams.
You're taking Caleb Williams in a heartbeat, yes.
Yeah, like, so you trade Kyler, you'll probably get at least 2 firsts for him, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And you can take, one of those first, trade it for a receiver, whatever the case is, just draft a receiver. That'd be pretty crazy. Imagine if let's say Tampa trades them like 10th overall or something like that, or 9th overall, and they're first in 2025 for Kyler, and Arizona takes Caleb at 1 and Marvin Harrison at 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty nuts.
Fuck, man. Danny, such a stud. Appreciate it, Boyd. Hey, boys. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate that, Brock. How does it feel knowing I have the best startup draft ever right now? I mean, like you got the second best. I'll give you that. I'm fucking with you. Yeah, no, you got a solid team as well. It's gonna be interesting to see the battle for year one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And for those of you wondering, once the draft's fully done, we'll let you guys know what the teams are looking like. But we're looking fierce over here. I'll tell you that. Caleb Williams is a great prospect, but is it at T-Law's level?
Yeah,
I think
probably about Trevor's level.
I think he's already passed.
From a fantasy perspective, I would say he's probably already passed. From a real life, because he can run more than Trevor, I would say he's probably passed him already, or at least from what we know about him now. But true like NFL draft perspective, some scouts might have preferred Lawrence. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's fine. JD's goated, ball CG. I also think T-Law, we were just having that conversation. I
absolutely think Trevor could win MVP this year. I'd be curious to know what his odds are because I might put money down on it.
Get those 2024 first because 2027 first because we need Arch Manning, as Bush would say. Welcome.
I think he's 26, isn't he?
2026 or 2027, whatever. Yeah, he would be 2026 because he would be the incoming freshman class, assuming he's not redshirted. But then again, he could also commit as a redshirt sophomore. So yeah, no, it would be 2026.
I don't think he's going to get redshirted because I think he's probably going to be.
He might start. He might start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or worst case, he'd be a backup. The Bucks are going to get Drake May, who is also elite. Yeah,
I'll take Drake May, dude. I'll have Drake May. I don't give a shit.
Yes, sir. Are we holding or selling Mark Andrews? All depends on the market value, my friend. If you can get,
I'd say generally speaking, he's probably a hold because most people aren't valuing him what he needs to be at.
And Boyd, like you said, buying Marky Mark.
Yeah, if anything, I'd be buying him potentially.
Because to me, he's the clear tight end too in Dynasty. If you have Travis Kelce and somebody's willing to give you Mark Andrews for Travis Kelce, I would take Mark Andrews for Travis Kelce. Is basically how I describe it.
I get it. Why people are like, oh, Kelce could be like the tight end one in Dynasty right now. There's
the downside risk
chance
is just
I would
crazy.
Ever say that that's a rational take. Like you might only get one more year of Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
like he's not
the downside risk is crazy.
At that point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Very, very interesting.
Trevor's MVP odds are plus 1,600, dude. I might put some money down on that.
What are the leaders? Do you mind if I show?
I'm looking at it right now. Burrow is the favorite at plus 700. Allen is, Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes are all plus 700 at the moment.
Fair.
Herbert plus 9, Hurts plus 12, then Trevor's 1,600. Watson is also interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say plus 2,500. Solid.
The MVP is a narrative award, so I think picking Watson would be difficult because the NFL might not want to give him the award.
I do think that. See, the thing is, I think the NFC has, in terms of you're making a bet, probably is the conference you'd want to lean to make the bet because in the AFC,
Jefferson at plus 10,000 is interesting too.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say because in the AFC, there's so many damn good quarterbacks that are going to be competing for that one seed, and typically speaking, they give the MVP to a guy who has at least a 12-5, 13-4 plus record.
Yeah,
it's a narrative award. Like I think if Trey Lance had a little bit more juice, I'd probably make that bet too. I don't mind that, but plus 2,500 being the same as Watson, I think is pretty crazy.
Lawrence to me is the best value here.
Yeah,
I think there should be zero difference between Herbert and Lawrence's odds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
I think Lawrence should at least be where Hurts is here at plus 1,200.
I wouldn't be a Cowboys fan if I didn't say I don't mind plus 1,600 at Dak too.
Dak should not have the same odds as Lawrence. Are you fucking kidding me?
To an Aaron Rodgers, absolutely.
Yeah, to an Aaron Rodgers, sure, but not Lawrence. Lawrence is just too low.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
I might have to play some cash on this. I don't know.
Realistically, how high are they going to finish in the AFC?
Like if I put 25 bones on this, it's $400 payout.
Yeah, I might do that on Dak. Realistically, how high can the Jags finish in the AFC? That's my only question mark.
I think they can finish as high. Their division's bad, dude. They could win 12, 13 games and win their division and be the 1 or the 2 seed.
Fair. Speaking of NFL win over unders, because obviously like that's going to be indicative too. Did you see that the Saints and the Cowboys have the same over under? 9.5.
It's probably because the Saints play in the South.
But
they'll
still
probably get a bunch of wins on us.
But still.
I mean, like Brock just said, too, the AFC South gets to play the NFC South this year.
Yeah, that is fair.
So you got 10 games against the Texans, Bucks, Panthers, Saints, Falcons.
Yeah. No,
That's
that
what
is
I'm
fair.
saying, man. I think Lawrence winning MVP this year is a fucking fantastic bet to make.
Because of schedule, yeah.
He's a quarterback. He's young. The NFL wants to like him to be like one of the new faces of the league. Like very narrative based award. If Lawrence has a monster breakout season this year, I would not be shocked at all if he's the MVP of the league.
What are the conference odds? I am curious to see what the AFC looks like because I mean, there's a lot more parity there. The NFC, you kind of know.
Also, don't think the Jags are bad to win the AFC either.
That's a solid bet there. I think if I was going to place a bet, I'd place it on one of the lower AFC teams. The NFC, I think if you're going to make a bet, it has to be one of the top three. I don't think I'd place any other bet on any other team.
I don't think the Lions are horrible as a bet to make. I don't think the Giants are horrible as a bet to make either, but I probably would agree.
If it was to win a playoff game, sure, but like to win the NFC, like I personally don't see an NFC or an NFC representative next year that isn't the Niners, Eagles, or Cowboys.
Yeah,
which is like crazy to say, but man. Whereas the AFC, like the top 2 rows, I can see any of those teams making it out. Maybe even the top 3 rows, to be honest.
Yeah. What is Cousins' market at now? When is the best time to sell him? I would say the best time to sell him is definitely not now because he's an older quarterback and he's not going to have a ton of value until the season. There's a good chance that he gets a receiver upgrade in the draft too. So if they draft a receiver in the first round, like if they draft QJ or something at 23, then that's going to be potentially a sell high window for Kirk Cousins. And like I said, best case scenario, you're looking at holding him until like August or September. I bought him in a dynasty league where there's 2 monsters in this league. I've been rebuilding for the last 2 years, and I made a trade earlier in the offseason for the 101 to get Bijan Robinson. I traded Jamison Williams like the 111 and the 205 or something like that, and I ended up getting Bijan for that. And then I also, when I made that trade, somebody was like, oh, I'm looking to rebuild. Who has picks? And I'm like, I still have a lot of picks, obviously, because I was rebuilding for 2 years. And he goes, stuff isn't going to be cheap, or it's not going to be expensive. Sorry. He's like, contending pieces won't be expensive, just looking for picks. I'm like, all right. So I send him 212 and 304 for Kirk Cousins. I was like, there's no way I should be getting Cousins for that. Even if I'm not ready to compete.
He took that?
I still don't think I'm quite ready to compete yet. I was like, that's way too cheap for Kirk Cousins.
He took that?
He did. Wow. And I offered him, I think I offered him 206 and 207 for George Kittle, and he almost took it. It's a tight end premium too.
What the fuck?
I'm probably going to trade him for Kittle before I, because if this guy's going to sell me a bunch of contending pieces for nothing, then I can absolutely become a contender this year once I add Bijan. And Herbert's my only main quarterback right now, but I have Sam Howell and Jared Goff, I think, is my other 2 quarterbacks, and I have 102, so I can add Bryce Young as well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But yeah,
best rapper. Oh no,
that is correct, Ernest.
No, fuck no.
That is correct. That is an absolute fact.
Fuck no.
Eminem
wishes he was Kendrick.
Get out of here.
Like,
Top wide receiver. I mean, the one thing I will say against Eminem is that like his fall off was so dramatic that like, dude, it's kind of hurt him a little bit. Like if he had just stopped rapping after like Recovery, like the No Love Cinderella Man album, if they just like called it quits after that, he probably would be considered the best rapper ever. But he's had some bad ones in the last couple of years.
Kendrick over Eminem, and it's not even particularly close. Kendrick has 2 of the greatest albums in the rap scene of all time.
I mean, music is completely subjective, so I'm not going to argue with anybody about it.
To Pimp a Butterfly is not subjective.
It's a great album.
Good Kid, Mad City is not subjective. Those are objective. Brock, no, I completely disagree. Miss Morale was a great album. Great album.
All I'm saying is you weren't even alive to listen to Eminem's good music.
I mean, you're acting like I don't listen.
I was alive.
Okay, you're acting like I haven't listened to Biggie. You're acting like I haven't listened to Tupac.
No. I'm just saying, like when it was, because I remember when I was a kid, like when my parents are kind of horrible for allowing this. Like I was 4 or 5 years old. My brother was 4 years older than me, so the like Superman album, Eminem Show, and like all those like big albums, like I shouldn't have been listening to them. I was too young to listen to them, but I remember listening to those and just being like, "Yo, he's the GOAT."
Not close. Brock, I don't know what to tell you, man. That whole album was a great listen. The thing is the way it was targeted was a little bit different. So people either loved it or
this is why we're saying music is subjective, though.
But
top wide receivers to target? Because what you just said is not a popular opinion.
No, correct. But T-Pab and Good Kid, Mad City are objectively two of the greatest albums.
Good Kid, Mad City is great. T-Pab was
T-Pab is phenomenal.
Anyways, before Danny loses his mind, I'm not a rap guy. Don't get mad at me. Anytime, any top wide receivers to target that could be buy low right now. I was thinking of doing some buy low candidates next week, potentially, or this coming week. So I might get back to you on that one, Leo. I might do some, 5 running backs to target, 5 wide receivers to target, whatever the case is. So we're probably going to sign off here. We've been on here for a while. Born in 88, Eminem's so boring. Also wacky beef with people about saying his daughter is hotter. Just kind of hold it. Can't with Eminem. Yeah, I mean, he's a controversial figure for sure. So we are going to head off here. Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, if you are, Nos is the best.
I don't mind that take. I don't mind that.
Any interest in Brian Robinson? Feel like he could be a buy low. I don't think he's a terrible buy.
I'd rather.
I mean, if you can get him for like a mid third, like I think that's definitely possible in some people's leagues.
I'll tell you right now, I'd rather Gibson over Brian Robinson straight up.
I would too, but I think you can get Brian Robinson for a mid third, is what I'm saying. Fair. So I probably would be cool with that. Anyways, make sure if you guys are site members over at Flock Fantasy, check out the new video that we posted there yesterday, how to spot a breakout candidate. We'll be having another one coming next week and a tons more other content there, rankings, updates, all that good stuff. So make sure to check that out, flockfantasy.com, promo code FSE. 30% off all the packages with that promo code and 6 months free if you buy annually. So definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. Probably JSN's tail of the tape coming tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for that as well. But with that being said, peace out. We'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy.